Watching Swipe, coming up. The action camera revolution. We meet the man behind GoPro and suss out the competition. The game of cat and mouse, how web users in China are bypassing government censors. You can bot be serious. Meet the table tennis playing machine. And it's time to start your engines in this week's Games Review. Hello and welcome to Swipe. If you've never seen one of these before, the chances are you will have seen through one. GoPros are so small, they can be attached to almost anything. But the action camera market is hotting up, as Will Sargent reports.
When most of us hear the word GoPro, this is the kind of video that springs to mind. But these cameras aren't just used by extreme sport fans. Cyclists strap them to their helmets to film bad drivers, and you'll even find Sky News camera crews using them.
Nick, would you be able to just swish?
In just 12 years, GoPro's founder, Nick Woodman, has built a business worth billions. But despite the success, he knows he can't afford to stop innovating.
When most people think about GoPro, they think about all of the incredible videos that they've seen or photos that they've seen shared online. That's what GoPro means to most people. And yet, we derive most of our revenue from hardware sales. So it creates this incredible opportunity for GoPro to scale its business as a media business as well as just a hardware business.
GoPro has been the biggest player in this market for a long time, but now there are plenty of competitors who want a piece of the action. Panasonic's got a wearable 4K camera. Toshiba's created its own nifty device. And Polaroid has also joined in with its Cube. Ben Skinner's well known for his dramatic surfing videos, but without lightweight camera technology, creating videos like this just wouldn't be possible.
There's a lot of people using these action sports cameras these days, so really for me it's about trying to be as creative as possible and finding the best place to put these cameras that's unique and shows the viewer something different they haven't seen before. We have loads of different accessories like some mounting poles, some head straps, and really it's about being as creative as you can be.
It's easy to be impressed looking at this footage, but the future could be even more exciting. So what can we expect?
We're never going to be done at GoPro developing what in our mind is the invisible camera, which is so small, so light, so convenient to use that you forget that you're even using it. And when we accomplish that, we think that you'll use it all the time because why wouldn't you? And that's our goal.
An invisible camera might be a step too far, but the possibilities this technology could offer in the future are huge. Will Sargent, Sky News.
Well, one team that regularly uses action cameras is the Red Devils, the British Army's Parachute Regiment display team, and I'm joined by two of them now, Lee and Alexis. Thanks for joining us, guys. Now, you use cameras when you're practicing skydiving in wind tunnels like this, and you're going to do some work today for us to have a look at. What are the benefits of using cameras when you're flying?
20 years or so, Gemma, we didn't have any cameras in freefall, and we had to rely on experienced skydivers telling us where we're going right and wrong. Since the development of action cameras, it's been a really good aid to us, to skydiving and the team. So when we perform our month's training in California and when we perform display jumps in England, we're able to review our video footage afterwards, have a look at that and look where we're going right and wrong and where our work on points are.
Okay, so it's all about improving performance then. But is any of this gear heavy? Because talk me through what we've got here.
So this helmet I use for the team, I film all the canopy formation and free fall on it. You've got stills on top here. It's operated by the tongue switch.
That's a tongue switch?
Yeah, so you put it in your mouth to operate the stills. Obviously you couldn't have your finger up here whilst you're flying, you need your hands.
Clever.
I also have a GoPro like this mounted on the front. Okay, and also you can watch that live back or on a debrief for debrief points on the next load, you know.
There's our cameraman there.
It's right there. So obviously in previous years, we've had things like this. Obviously a lot bigger camera you can imagine mounted on here. That's just the video, along with the stills as well you'd have.
And how many years ago would you use that?
This is probably about 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay, so
yeah.
quite speedy development.
Yeah, and this is a waterproof housing for a video for like the Sony, like this one here. Okay.
Okay.
And obviously the GoPros are waterproof now, so it's just a no-brainer to use something that small, lighter on your head. You can fly a lot better.
But I mean, does any of if it weigh you down or change your direction?
No, that's why we do all the practice in the tunnel to, you know, to get better flight with the stuff.
And you're going to do some practice today. Which ones are you going to use? What cameras?
It's definitely a no-brainer to be using the GoPro. With the quality of the GoPros these days, they're better quality than those massive older cameras. And because of their size, it makes sense in a tight environment to be using those. Much easier to use, really good quality, really functional.
Guys, that was amazing. Fantastic. How does that compare to the real thing?
Tiring.
Yeah, it's tiring. Obviously, I haven't got a parachute on in there, so don't have to worry about deployment of the parachute. So,
Are you happy with your performance? Happy with the footage you got?
yeah, it's not good. We can debrief on it on the GoPros. That's what they're for, I guess. So,
Yeah, we're definitely not the best as free flying goes, but it's a really good aid, this, to be able to practice. And it's really great using the wind tunnel because you've got a reference right there the whole time, having the glass. If you're in the sky, you can be moving around a lot and not really know what you're doing.
It looked absolutely amazing to us. Lee, Alexis, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Swipe.
Pleasure, thank you.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, we've got a ping pong ding dong and the rest of the week's tech news. Now for something a little more sobering. GoPros like this, as well as drones and other recording devices and social media, have all played a crucial role in the Hong Kong protests. Not just for the demonstrators, but for journalists too. But in mainland China, few knew what was happening. Here's Mark Stone on the Chinese censorship machine.
Chairman Mao's Communist Party controls the web in China. They decide what can and what can't be viewed. Somewhere there is literally an army of censors watching, screening and deleting anything deemed inappropriate.
Hong Kong Occupy.
Over the past 2 weeks, the censorship machine has been in overdrive. Only state-sanctioned material has been available on China's Twitter, CCTV, the state television channel, and Xinhua, the state news agency.
China's leaders are paranoid, convinced that democracy protests in Hong Kong could spill over here and really threaten their hold on power. It's happened before, right here in Tiananmen Square.
Students demanded change from their government, accountability. They wanted a say. They were brutally shut down. Hundreds died.
The subject simply isn't mentioned now. It is so sensitive that even doing this, I need to pose as a tourist doing a selfie.
And so with that history and with an effectiveness that only China could muster, one of the most intense censorship campaigns in years began. Online, in print and on TV.
Well, if you can make it out through the smog, that is the headquarters of China's Central Television, CCTV. And it was from within this building over the past few weeks that directives were issued, not to mention the protests.
It was as if they simply weren't happening. No pictures from Hong Kong were aired for several days. Transmission of international news channels was cut during their Hong Kong reports. Online, platforms which can't be controlled are simply shut down altogether, not just at sensitive times, but all the time.
Twitter, Facebook, Google, YouTube, all of them are completely blocked right across mainland China. And so in order to get access to them, you need to use what's called a VPN, a virtual private network. It tricks your computer into thinking it's operating in a different country, and only then can you get access to the web that the rest of the world gets to see.
You're watching Swipe. Coming up, we're putting our foot down in our games review. But first, here's a roundup of anything else you might have missed this week. NASA is giving you the chance to have your name blasted to Mars on its latest spacecraft. The space agency is giving people until the end of the month to send in names to be added to a microchip on board the Orion Explorer. Those behind the idea say it's to enable people to be part of the journey. You could soon be using Facebook to send money to your friends. A computer science student in the US has discovered a feature in the Messenger app that has the potential to attach cash to messages. Twitter is suing the US government over surveillance laws. Under the current law, the company can't reveal certain information about government requests for users' data if it relates to national security. But Twitter says this violates the right to free speech, as defined by the First Amendment to the US Constitution. Samsung says it expects profits to plunge almost 60% in the final quarter of this year. It says it's because of more competition in the smartphone sector, but the company promises to release new models soon with innovative designs. The South Korean firm is the world's biggest smartphone maker, but shares are currently at a 2-year low. The Met Office has unveiled a dedicated space weather forecasting centre. The £4.6 million project, based at the organisation's headquarters in Exeter, will monitor the sun's surface and atmosphere. A severe space weather storm could impact GPS, radio communications and power grids on Earth. The company behind the video game Minecraft has told Sky News it's unlikely to be able to emulate its global success. More than 54 million copies of the game have been sold in the past 3 years, and last month Microsoft bought Mojang for £1.6 billion. The PC version earns around £285,000 a day.
It's not a formula. It definitely doesn't fit into things that people had done before, so you can't even analyze it for what it is, how long it will last, anything that's going on with the game. It really is something unique and special, and I think it would be a mistake to attempt to replicate its success as opposed to just learning from it and creating new things that learn lessons from Minecraft but aren't trying to replicate its success.
Ever imagined what a robot table tennis player would look like? Here you go. This 3-legged machine is 2.7 metres tall and responds to serves in 1,000th of a second. But it's not quite ready for competition yet. The Japanese robot gets confused when you play a shot with spin. It's time for our games review. As if this show hasn't already offered you enough fun, we've got Daniel Krupa with his pick of the best. Woo!
Driveclub is a PlayStation 4 exclusive. It's a racing game and it's been in development for quite some time. Originally it meant to be a launch title for the PlayStation 4 when it came out last year, but it's been incubating for another year. And in some ways it's really paid off. I think it's probably the best looking game that you can currently get on PlayStation 4. It's absolutely stunning. The cars look beautiful. And the courses, which are set across the world in Norway, Scotland, Chile, Canada, they all look beautiful, especially at night time and when it's raining. Elsewhere, it's more of a the foundation is more a traditional racer, so you've got circuit-based courses, and it's not that innovative at that level. So I feel while it's that extra time of development has made the game more beautiful and it's got some neat social integration, it's more of a standard racer than it would have you imagine. That said, if you're a PlayStation 4 owner and you're looking out for a driving game, you should definitely check it out. There have been so many games based on the Alien franchise over the years, and a lot of them take their cues from James Cameron's action-orientated sequel, and they have been pretty awful on the whole. Alien Isolation is very different. It's kind of a homage and an extension of Alien, the original by Ridley Scott. So it's set 15 years after the events of that movie. You play as Amanda Ripley, the daughter of Sigourney Weaver's character, and you're looking for what happened to your mother on the Nostromo. So you're sent out into deep space to find the black box recorder.
My God, Ripley. You're doing good, Tim.
Now, it's a first-person survival horror game, and there's one alien in the entire game, and you can't kill it. So it's all about making the player feel incredibly vulnerable. You'll have weapons, but they're pretty much useless. They're there for solving puzzles and negotiating the environment, but it all creates this gameplay of cat and mouse where the alien, which is very intelligent, it's not scripted, so you can't work out how it's going to hunt you. It's using its senses to track you down and find you all the time, so it's all about avoiding it. Now, I think it's one of the best designed games I've ever seen in terms of aesthetics. It really feels like you're walking around the set of Ridley Scott's original movie, and the atmosphere is just superb. If you're more into action games, fast-paced games, I think you might find it a little slow, but for me it was brilliant. Forza Horizon 2 is the sequel, unsurprisingly, to Forza Horizon, and it's best thought of as the mischievous, cooler little brother of Forza Motorsport, which is Microsoft's more serious, authentic racing simulator. So it's open world, and it's set in southern Europe across the Italian and French border, and it's open world, so you can go anywhere and do anything you want pretty much. You can go off-road, you can burst through vineyards, explore forests, or take to the roads around the coast. And there's over 700 700 events and a kind of diverse catalogue of cars to play around with. And it's just really fun. Like, it's less serious than something like Driveclub or Forza or Gran Turismo. It really kind of embraces the idea of it's just cool to race fast cars around beautiful landscapes. It kind of feels like an episode of Top Gear in a way. You can do crazy tricks and stunts if you want. And my colleague who reviewed the game, I think he described it best when he said it's like Forza Motorsport shot into your face from a t-shirt cannon.
Here we are on the road together, racing time, you and I.
Well, that's it for this week, but don't forget to stay up to date with all the latest tech stories on Sky News for iPad, our smartphone apps, and skynews.com. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.